How are scallops farmed? Have you ever wondered how those delicious scallops make their way from the ocean to your plate? Scallop farming, also known as scallop aquaculture, is a fascinating process that helps meet the demand for these tasty shellfish while protecting wild populations. Let's break down how scallops are farmed in a way that is both effective and sustainable. Scallops are primarily grown in controlled marine environments using two main techniques: hanging culture and bottom culture. Hanging culture is quite interesting. In this method, juvenile scallops are placed in small mesh containers called pearl nets. These nets are then suspended in the water using structures like rafts or floating longlines. As the scallops grow, they can be moved to larger nets or trays that hang vertically in the water. This setup allows them to feed on plankton carried by water currents. To keep the scallops healthy, regular cleaning is essential. This prevents biofouling, which is when unwanted organisms accumulate and block water flow. Another method within hanging culture is ear hanging. This involves drilling a small hole in the shell's hinge and hanging the scallops on vertical lines. This spacing improves water flow and food access, which can lead to better growth. On the other hand, bottom culture places scallops directly on or near the seabed. Sometimes, farmers use plastic trays or cages to protect them from predators. This method is generally less expensive since it does not require floating structures. However, growth may be slower because scallops have limited access to plankton in the water column. Wild ranching is a specific type of bottom culture where scallops are seeded on cleared seabed areas, sometimes with fencing to keep out predators like crabs and starfish. While this method is simpler and cheaper, it does come with its own challenges. Choosing between hanging and bottom culture depends on various factors. Hanging culture usually produces larger scallops with heavier adductor muscles, which are the parts most valued for eating. However, it requires a higher initial investment and more maintenance. Bottom culture is easier and less costly but may face more natural challenges and slower growth rates. Scallop farming is an expanding part of aquaculture. It helps reduce the pressure on wild scallop populations while providing a sustainable seafood source. Farmers must carefully manage environmental conditions to ensure healthy growth. This includes monitoring water quality, controlling biofouling, and protecting scallops from predators. In essence, scallops are farmed by either suspending them in the water column using nets or lines, or growing them on the seabed with protective trays or cages. Each method balances costs, growth efficiency, and environmental considerations to produce healthy scallops for the market while supporting marine ecosystem sustainability.